All right, good morning to everyone. I'm Benjamin Joff from Simion, and I'm going to talk to you about what we've done with Facebook and social network integration with a case study of a Paradise Paintball that was developed by us. So I'll start with a quick survey. Any of you using Facebook? Raise of hands. OK, quite a few. Any of you developing games? Quite a few. Any of you developing Facebook games? Not that many. OK, so there's a place for this talk. All right, so I'll start by a quick intro. Paradise Paintball. David Helgason, CEO of Unity, yesterday was answering an interview for Gamasutra and mentioned us very kindly as the most successful Unity game on Facebook, so I quote that. And I'll do a quick intro about myself. So I'm not a developer, so I'm probably the least technical person here. And the idea of this presentation is to focus on what is it to build a business around a game on Facebook. And I'll try to explain that to you, because there's quite a lot of things that are different from a traditional game production. I spent the past 10 years in Asia, in Japan, in Korea, and in China, and mostly focusing on strategy and research about what's going on with social networking, virtual worlds, and more generally, gaming best practices. So about Simion. Simion, we actually are building a platform for rapid production, distribution, and monetization of games. We use Unity as a front end, and we do cross-channel integration across social networks, Apple Dashboard, and Simion Portal. So this is our team. As you see, we're armed and dangerous. This is some kind of offline paintball training we did about a week ago. Keep the spirit up. And I'll switch directly to show you what we've done, because it's probably the easiest for you to see. OK, so it's probably this one. There you go. Oh, there should be some sound around here. There you go. Can we get the sound? Oh. OK. I'll just run it from the laptop then. So all this is integrated into Facebook, works exactly the same as an Apple widget. So it's a multiplayer 3D game on Facebook and on Apple widget. So if you play from the widget, you can play across people, against people on Facebook as well. We also created a kind of mini portal around this game. So you can see there's a bunch of items. Multiplayer, we have now up to 12 players per game session, and we can run any number of parallel sessions. So this is basically what we've done. So it's kind of casual FPS. So you can see here, integrated into Facebook. This is Apple widget, and this is on our portal. So I'll go back to the presentation. There we go. So on Facebook and on our portal, we have associated with the game, the business model we're pursuing is related to virtual goods. So you can see here all different sorts of virtual goods that players can buy. So that helps us to activate the user community, and that also helps us to monetize. You see here kind of an inventory system we have put in place to equip the avatar. So in terms of game design, actually, if you think of it, it's actually really the lazy man's design. So we took a bunch of players, a small map, big guns, and fast-paced game. The idea was really to leverage the platform we built with our own game. And the problem that we faced is that building a multiplayer FPS, as you probably know, is actually possibly the hardest because of all the synchronization issues and basically all the sensitivity to lag in general. So in terms of business, we have built on our platform this first title. We integrated already the revenue model, and we're also doing some licensing work based on the technology we developed. In terms of milestones, we launched last November across Apple widget and Facebook using peer-to-peer networking. So it was a very nice solution to save cost. But in terms of of performance for an FPS. It's actually not that reliable until you reach very large numbers. So we also had, as you recognize here, in the first version of borrowed artwork. Thanks, Edmund. The surprise we had is that after we launched, we realized that actually the widget shot to #1 worldwide on Apple Widgets and stayed there for about 2 months. So we thought there was probably something there. So we moved on and tried to fix some of the major issues. Yeah, a bit in front of the text. Around May, we relaunched with server networking. We integrated new content. We integrated new avatars, integrated payments. And we also started to face some scalability issues. And we started to initiate revenues. So I actually have also a demo of how we integrated payments. At the moment, we can pay from PayPal, credit cards. But we thought also, since we're targeting a pretty young demographic, that having mobile would be probably good, and having also some kind of offer-based payment would be good as well. So I'll show you how the payment and the integration works. So this is a video that was actually taken by our payment partner, Zong.
But I'm hiding. And what I'm going to do is, while I'm in the game and hiding, I'm just going to go buy vision goggles.
So we're still in the game, just paused. And now it's recharging through his mobile. So you enter the mobile number that you receive an SMS with a code. You put that inside.
And then, basically, I'm going to have my credit. So no other payment method.
There we go.
Being in front of a form with your credit card number and everything, it's done. And so I'm going to be credited automatically.
So basically, in a few seconds,
so
just charge his account on the web.
Here, and now I can buy
being
my
credited.
night vision goggles.
He's buying some Hitvision goggles.
And done.
And you can see it
and
shows up directly within Unity.
So I've never left the game, and I'm going to turn on my night vision goggles. And what it does
basically,
is it enables me to find
he was hiding
others.
somewhere in the game.
There they are.
Oh.
So I can
in
switch off
a plane wreck, and now, just in a few seconds, he managed to charge his account, to get an item, and to use it.
So that was it. That was the demo of the month, and it shows you once more how easy it is. I'm getting.
So now back to some further milestones. So in September, we had a new release with a lot of fixes, actually. So we could call that maybe the first commercial release with more items, new maps, new avatars, a proper backend for the game on managing the economy, and also a very big increase in network performance. So that translated in something quite nice on Facebook. MAU is monthly active unique users, so you see that actually shot up quite nicely. The future milestone we have is actually having new game modes. So we realized that to make the game really compelling, we had to have some additional game modes that are pretty like classical ones in FPS, but we're missing in our first versions. Better in-game reward system to activate the user base. A bunch of new maps, items. So you can see this is new map on the right, indoor. Integrating better with viral and social features, and have a better game mechanics in general. So the current results, I'd say the biggest surprise for us was to have like about 1.5 million installs across all channels. So that's actually quite a lot. On Facebook, we have about 80,000 monthly active uniques. And that doubled in the past 30 days. So we're pretty confident that with additional releases and actually implementing virality and social features, we can shoot up even farther. In terms of business, so we have some revenue with virtual goods sales, still at a pretty early stage, but it's growing. The community is very active, and that has really helped us refine the game, and that's something that's very different from traditional packaged software or packaged game production that generally basically you create your game and then you put it on the market and people buy it or not. With Facebook, things are very different. You can do a lot of updates, do a lot of changes, It's like really the web gaming, but even at a faster pace. And some of the most, say, successful social gaming companies, they do like minor updates and minor testings like several times a day. In addition, on the business side, the sales of our platform also increased, so that's pretty good. So all this sounds pretty good, but if you look at numbers on Facebook, you'll realize that actually 80,000 users is actually pretty small yet. Number one ranked game today is Farmville with 61 million monthly active. Halloween Hunting, kind of seasonal game, is ranked 140 with 1 million users. And we're about ranking circa 600. So we still have some way to go. And this can be done by improving virality and distribution. So this is the ranking courtesy of AppData. So we're here. This is the ranking for developers. So we ranked like about 300. So we have like some satisfaction having beaten Winnie the Pooh on the Dancing Baby. But we want to do better than that, and having more virality, more distribution, more social features will definitely help. So now to share what we've learned so far is that first the game has changed. Really, in web game, in social game, it's really moving from product to service. So kind of made two categories here of the recent trends, moving from the old school to kind of the new deal. So old school, packaged software, pay-per-download. So this is receding. We're based in Asia, and we see that really very, very strongly. The Chinese online game market this year will be somewhere between $3.5 and $4 billion. Korean and Japanese online game markets about $1 billion each. So this is a very, very strong trend. The subscription model, like kind of World of Warcraft type, we've seen that this was also a model that was on the market in Asia as well a few years back. But with increased competition, they had to move from having subscription to having free trials. And then when you start to charge after a 3-month free trial, then most of your users move to another free trial. So you lose most of them. And that's actually one reason why the virtual goods model emerged, is companies were realizing they had very good game properties, but that as soon as they started to charge a subscription, they would lose a lot of people that would put a pretty significant barrier of entry for new users. So they decided to, OK, let's revamp the model. There was already some kind of gray market going on with virtual goods, just like there is on World of Warcraft. So they thought that this could be actually a full-fledged business model. Ad-supported model, there's a lot of talks about it. Some developers seem to be doing OK with that. It's pretty hard, and it's definitely not very much aligned with the interest of the users. It's really a kind of interruptive, basically it's a bit difficult to think of it as a sustainable model, especially because of the very large influx of new games you see. Like Flash games are being monetized with ad networks at the moment in some online portals, but with an increasing number of Flash games, the advertising amount doesn't necessarily increase. Actually, it goes down per property, so it's a bit difficult. So the new deal is really social gaming. So social gaming, social networks, and games. I guess some of you played some Facebook games already, so you probably know about that. And virtual goods is definitely the red-hot revenue model. Actually, just this week, in another place in San Francisco, there's a virtual goods conference with about the same number of people as here. So the consequences, one is that game as a service means that operation is king, that you have to have users involved. It's called customer development. So basically learning from your users what they like, what they want to buy, and then you can change your game according to that. Another problem appearing in this type of gaming is the low barrier of entry. So you could almost ask yourself, is intellectual property protection is still possible in that case? Another challenge is to learn all those new lingo. You might be familiar with some of it. K-factor, conversion, MAU, DAU, ARPU, ARPPU, A/B testing. So K-factor is related to virality, basically one person inviting another person after how long. So if you can get every user inviting one new user per week, you probably do well in the next few weeks. Conversion, so from visits to registered to active to paying, all those are metrics you have to monitor to see where your game is going, where your users are going, what you're doing right. So MAU, DAU helps you to measure retention, daily unique, monthly unique. ARPU, average revenue per user, average revenue per paying user, to see actually who's paying what. A/B testing, so it's kind of behavioral testing sets. Basically, you can do some small changes. It could be like as minor as changing the wording of the notification message to other users. And from testing that, you can see, OK, if I change this wording, I get 20% more people to sign up. So this is what guys like Zynga, Playfish are doing. So another challenge, of course, is walking the talk. So getting started, seeding the game, getting invitations, notifications, retention, re-engagement, having a good content design and community management, balancing the virtual economy and the gameplay. So if you sell some uber powerful weapon to users or something that like this really unbalance the game, then you have a problem. Managing a dual currency system. We have opted for this system, so having one currency kind of point system, another one kind of cash system that you can buy. And you can use the point system to get your users to do a bunch of things, like invite other people, sign up as often as possible, like participate in some activities. So and you can reward them this way as well. But balancing that is actually almost the work of an economist if you make it on a large scale. So of course, measuring all this is also one of the key challenges. Measuring and acting on it based on what you measure. So virality, engagement, retention, monetization. Measuring also the ROI of the various channels you use. Another challenge is competition. Any of you played a game like this before? So I did. This is my farm. All right, so maybe if you don't know those games, those are kind of let's say you could almost call that sim farm, kind of tycoon type or management simulation. Problem is that all those are farm games on Facebook. All of them. If you look at them, they differ very little. Farmville, Farmtown, Country Story, Bound Buddy, Happy Farm, Happy Harvest. From all those on Facebook, and you see some are from US, Playfish UK, 2 companies from China actually doing that, and actually being pretty successful at it. Can you tell which one is the first one? Any idea? Farmville? No, I hear no. Happy Harvest, possibly. Actually, I don't know. I have a guess. The guess is that, maybe it's kind of bias, that it's a company called 5 Minutes in China who might have released this first on the social network. The guess is because they actually pretty much dominate that space in China already for quite some time. And I remember reading that when they were successful with that game, reading in like some media reporting from the West, that the reason they were successful was that because China has such like a strong farming culture on the 800 million farmers. Well, I don't know if they use a lot of computers, those guys, but it was an interesting theory. So actually, I don't know which one is the first one. What I know is that this is the mother of all farm games, and it's called Harvest Moon, and that was a Nintendo game back in 1996. And I don't think any of those other farm games paid any royalty or licensing to those guys. So what does that mean? That means that creativity is important to attract users. You get a first impact, and definitely with 3D, you get pretty strong impact. But basically, if you want to make it a business, you have to look at analytics, social mechanics, execution, ROI, because that is actually more powerful than pure creativity. You could almost say that actually being good at all this is a form of creativity. So I'd like to look a little bit at the economics of all this, and I'll take pretty like a strong example, a company called Zynga, which is at the moment the biggest social gaming company. So they have, at last count, 177 MAU across all their game properties. Number of paying users, 8%, somewhere probably between 0 and 15. If you're familiar with online games, you probably have a kind of rough idea of what that could be. The paying users would be paying B dollars. But the total estimated for this year is about $200 million in revenue. So it's not too bad for a company that wasn't around about 2 years ago. This is like pretty unique example. And if you look at something that is a little bit more reasonable, such as dividing by 1,000, those metrics, then you see that 177K MAU, that's about 200K a year, 16 a month, if conversion rates are as good as those guys. So you hit basically ramen profitability for a few developers with such metrics. So can you afford? So the opportunity on the possible bright future, on the advantages of Facebook versus building a siloed game property, is that first, you can leverage the identity of users. So in a variety of ways. You can leverage the social graph for reach, for virality, for actually using that data into whatever property you create. You can also have an advantage of being browser-based because we've already seen on Facebook in a matter of 2 years the game properties moving from simple text-based stuff or very, very basic like HTML or Java type to Flash to possibly 3D. The pain, as you know, plugin install, still a problem. There's like you lose users when you ask them to install a plugin, that's for sure. Larger download versus having some instant fun. The attention span of social game users are generally quite short because they're not like gamers necessarily per se. They're like people on a social network who look for like quick and easy entertainment. And you also need to support dinosaur machines because when you're a normal user on a social network, I mean, you use Facebook from pretty much any machine. You don't need like super strong machines either to run Flash games. But when you start to have some 3D, then the FPS count start to be important.
Do you have metrics on the plugin install?
Drop, ceiling. Cannot talk about this, but I'd say it's like yeah. Yeah, basically it's yeah. Unless I mean, ideally, so many people would already have it that wouldn't be a problem, right? Of course, but yeah, it's in line with those numbers more or less, and so it's getting better, but it's still a problem. So what we did right in our development is that actually by kind of hacking content and putting things together at the beginning, we found that we actually had pretty good instant playability and also had cross-platform deployment. So we could focus on having short game sessions, kind of coffee cup game, learn about the conversion process while doing that. And we also are working on researching players' tastes and behaviors across those different channels because they differ. A widget user is different behavior from a Facebook user. Some people asking also to have the game as a download, to have it on their computer, and the people playing directly from our web portal also kind of different style of users. We found that community management was actually extremely important. So we put a forum together at the beginning, and then we found that people were actually very engaged with that, giving us a lot of feedback on pretty much everything, from design to gameplay to what they want to like so many things. So actually there's many of them on just few of us, so we'll have to listen to players but keep cool because you hear so many things. You hear like 1,000 ideas and you can probably do like 5 or 10, so you have to be selective and you'll disappoint like 990 people if you don't do their ideas, so you have to explain. Educate the community. We found that releasing updates as often as possible and hyping them up also in the community was really helping to get things moving. Other lessons learned is that users on social networks look for quick and easy entertainment, and generally like having frequent updates, having good features is actually more important than having good graphics. So that doesn't dismiss 3D, because being 3D on an SNS brings kudos and brings a lot of interest anyway. As you can see, we've been featured by Facebook. So here, we've been certified very early. We get a lot of attention from not just from corporates, but also users who are like, wow, 3D on a social network? They're not used to that, so that's really a very strong advantage. More lessons learned. Some players will complain no matter what changes you make. So some people still ask us to put back LURPs. So, all right. Younger players, we found, have generally lots of time and little money, so they're interested in terms of the way we manage the virtual economy. They're very interested by having those offers. They can fill surveys and get some credits for that. Older players generally have little time, but they can pay. So they're quite happy with PayPal, credit card, mobile. We found like variety of interesting behaviors from our players. Some guys saying that in their company, they play one department against another. Some guys saying, I play with my boss on my team, and I'm really happy I can like shoot my boss in the game. We found a father who actually emailed us saying, this game is really great. I can play with my son. We're living separately, and that's really good to reconnect with his old, unfashionable father. So that's really interesting learning also on our social aspects. The opportunities for future growth, of course, is having other deployment of other social networks. So we're actually waiting for MySpace to validate Unity, the Unity plugin to launch there. Discussing with game portals who can provide also very good distribution. And this also kind of focused demographic, because people going on game portals actually look for games. We found that generally people want to tell their friends, like within schools, like middle schools, high schools, and even universities. We found that people were having some kind of like local ranking for the game. So you can make it easy on social networks by leveraging story feeds or building a fan page. Rewarding players regularly also keeps them engaged. And overall, improving the real-time social experience makes a difference. So having a better chat system so that people can see across properties who's there, and having the ability to share games with your friend easily. So one more thing. We've done also some community work. So we're working with Unity at the moment on like passing some of this lore to you through a Facebook API. So it's still very, very early development, but I'll show you a bit what it looks like. So the idea is to integrate some of the key Facebook social features directly from within Unity. So what will it do in the initial release? You'll be able to get information about the users within the Unity window, access the friends, know who among your friends has the application you've developed, create story feeds, so publish directly from Unity, and create notification. So I have a demo of this as well. So you see this is actually a demo integrated directly into Facebook. Here we go. So this is one of our paintball maps that we just reuse for the beauty of it. So GetMe gets my kind of avatar. We kind of put an avatar here. This is the picture used by Sean, our co-founder. Here you can see you can get some information about him. You can get his friends coming. So you see the friends around. You can get some information from the status, the birthday, location. So it depends what kind of fields they field, but you can access all those data. So you can probably already think of a variety of ways to use that. So this is kind of a geeky way to do it, but there's probably a lot of ways to do like simple things that would be very compelling to users. So you can publish from there a story feed directly into Facebook. And that's it. All right. So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. So if you have questions, this is our contacts, info@Simion.com for technical or business. Facebook, you can visit Paradise Paintball here. If you're interested also in working with us based on our platform, you can check on our website, Simion.com. Thank you.